Good afternoon, and welcome to Internet Roundup.
Indeed.
I'm Chuck, and that's Josh.
Right.
And we just had a cuppa. You're still having a cuppa,
Yo.
which is English for coffee.
Right.
Right? Which is why we're
Indeed.
so jacked up right now.
I'm a little jacked up. I'm
Sorry.
holding it together.
You are?
Just barely.
Good. Well, welcome to the show. We round up the internet two at a time. And I've only got about 150,000 more years to go. We'll have it all covered.
If we work at a steady clip.
And this week, the first topic is about Siberia, where there are these mysterious craters that have been popping up for the last few years.
Yeah. Do you remember when the first one came up? Everybody's like, this wasn't here last week.
I remember that.
Everybody assumed Putin was up to no good.
Right.
Because it was in Siberia.
And they didn't see a meteor fall.
No.
So it was unexplained.
It was. And then even more mysteriously, more started popping up. This is, I think it started in the summer of 2014, right?
Yeah. And if you don't see something hit the Earth, there's not supposed to be a crater there.
Right. There was no good explanation
Yeah.
for these craters suddenly appearing, especially like, okay, a massive crater, and we're talking about meters and meters in diameter. These are huge craters, right?
260 feet wide, 80 meters.
That's
one
a lot.
In northern Russia's Yamal Peninsula.
So one happens, you're like, okay, well, I guess we missed a meteoroid or asteroid. I can't remember. It converts into something when it crosses through Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah.
When other ones start popping up and you keep missing what's causing it, it's something else. It's a bona fide mystery.
Agreed.
So they started to sniff around and try to figure out what it was.
Yeah, and they have an idea that it is actually due to climate change.
Yeah.
And the melting of the permafrost.
The tundra.
And it makes sense when it's explained. Don't you agree?
Oh, totally.
So what's going on is you have this methane pressurized gas underground. They said maybe a little CO2, but definitely methane. And it's under the permafrost, and when the stuff warms up, it warms up from the bottom up, and it forms a cavity. It's sort of like the Earth burping.
Yes, a very violent burp.
You know, because the gas can pressurize and actually cause a lump,
Right.
like a little hill, and then that will burp out and create the crater.
Somebody comes along and goes, and it goes, boom.
Sort of. Oh, God, sorry. Oh, cramp.
Oh, man, we got to use this. How did you get a cramp? You're just sitting there.
Oh. Huh? You ever had a cramp?
Yeah, but like from walking around or something.
Oh, no. If you just...
Oh, like a Charlie horse?
I hook my leg
Oh,
under
yeah,
the
I
chair,
gotcha.
and it it started again.
Casey, can you zoom in?
I gotta go stiff for a second.
And we're back.
Hey, sorry for that. I just had the most massive leg cramp of my life, and it's still getting it's pulsating.
Can we get Casey to massage that out?
Josh said I need to eat a banana.
Yeah, potassium.
Yeah, is that what I need?
Mm-hmm.
Man. All right.
You okay?
Yeah, that just definitely got weird.
It was hilarious is what it got.
Well, it's like I had a hornet's nest in my pants all of a sudden.
I couldn't understand what was happening.
I know.
I thought you were really into like the next fact or something.
No, I can't wait to see this. So where were we?
We were talking about
Popping a zit,
right.
and now you have a crater.
Yeah.
Because of the permafrost melting.
And actually, there's been reports of lights in the sky or something when these, right before these craters are discovered.
Right.
So they think maybe they're exploding, but that's a mystery in and of itself because they're like methane blowing a hole through the earth doesn't necessarily mean it ignites.
Yeah, and
it
they
could just
thought,
blow through the earth.
Is it lightning or something? Apparently they said probably not because it's in the wintertime. We don't have those kind of storms.
Yeah.
And this one expert said, he told the Siberian Times, maybe it's just the high pressure causing an explosion. He basically went,
Yeah. That's so great that you had that cramp. We could literally do anything on this show now, and it's fine. Thanks, man.
and every time I move my leg under my chair the right way, it starts to seize up again. So
I know how
we need to power through here.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So that's it for that. So up next, we've got the FBI tracking truck stop killers, which is a bigger problem than you or I ever assumed.
Yep. It is frightening how many people are killed and dropped along the side of the highway.
Yeah, typically hitchhikers, women in vulnerable positions who make money around truck stops.
Right. Like a prostitute, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just basically people who the killer assumes will not be missed.
Right.
And the fact that the killer is a long-haul trucker means that they may commit this crime and be 4 states away by the end of that day.
Yeah.
They have no connection whatsoever to the area. They just picked somebody up at a truck stop, murdered them, dumped their body, and continued on their merry way as sick human beings that they are.
Yeah. I have a couple of stats for you. This is just in Arkansas, Oklahoma, Mississippi, and Texas over a 6-month period, and this was 2003 to 2004, there were 7 women murdered in these states and dumped along the highway. And the FBI has a list of 750 people who were murdered near the highway and 450 potential suspects in a database.
Yeah.
So like you said, it's tricky because they're moving on from state to state. It's almost the perfect crime. So they said, we need to get a system in place to deal with this because it's I don't know about an epidemic. It's a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem at least. I mean, if one woman's killed like that, it's a problem. But the fact that it's just like repetitive.
Yeah.
And you got to imagine not every long-haul trucker is also a serial killer.
No.
It's probably a fairly small percentage, you would assume, right?
Yeah.
So that means then that there's probably just a handful of these guys committing all these crimes because they can just get away with it so easily, right? So the FBI is basically just going to the trouble of making a database where local law enforcement can feed victims of these crimes and clues from these crimes into this database so that somebody can comprehensively look and track and say, oh, well, this happened here.
Yeah.
And this trucker that we're investigating, he has a gas receipt in this other state for about that same time.
Uh-huh.
We can clear him. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
it's just basically computer legwork.
Yeah, they call it the FBI Highway Serial Killings Initiative. And like you said, it is just database work. The good thing about the fact that these are potentially truckers is truckers have to keep logs,
right?
And they do have a lot of gas receipts.
Sure.
So there's a trail, and it's just about developing that timeline by having access and shared access between states.
Right.
So,
and it's not just the U.S. that has this problem either. Canada, British Columbia in particular, has something called the Highway of Tears.
Oh.
In BC, between 1969 and 2011, between 19 and 40 women, some of them hitchhikers, some of them prostitutes, some of them First Nation, indigenous women, a lot of them teenagers, were found dead along this stretch of highway in British Columbia. And it's a big problem. It's probably a long-haul trucker, a number of long-haul truckers that were committing these crimes.
Man.
Yeah. And I mean, like, the idea that they're only now starting to look into it. They're only now creating a database when God knows how long there have been like long-haul trucker serial killers just killing vulnerable populations of women.
Yeah.
But I guess it's gotten enough press now that we should do something about it.
Right.
You know?
Well, because you think the idea is it's like, well, these are prostitutes getting killed or they're drifter drug users.
Right. So who cares?
Right. But yeah, that's good that they've finally come up with this database.
And we got called out, actually, because we were talking about the mysterious floating feet in BC.
Uh-huh.
And a couple of people wrote in and was like, you guys, you talked about how British Columbia has this high number of missing people, and you didn't even mention the Highway of Tears.
Oh, wow.
So we should have, I guess.
Well, here we are now.
Yeah.
In the soon-to-be infamous Cramp episode of Internet Roundup. The crampiest show on the web.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to go have a small child walk around on my hamstring for an hour, and we'll see you next week on Internet Roundup.